Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm back and I'm mad.
Hello.
Boogie.
Welcome to the Unofficial Hobby Hangout. With me, as always, is Jerry.
Boogie. How's life? It's good. All right for Christmas?
I've got 6 hours of work ahead of me tomorrow, and then it's done for the day. And for the year, or anything that matters at that point. So I'm running on fumes.
Nice. It's a way to do it.
But I'm pretty sure I'll be out and about tomorrow, and maybe then I'll have some time to read Frostgrave rules, which are still only on page 2, and potentially.
Is that not still like the introduction?
Yeah,
Joe's going,
it's the
Frostgrave, this is amazing.
The fluff text. And then there's this small little from Andrew Taylor miniatures.
Right.
It's the little Scully Bob Bishop.
Yes.
That Ben made me buy. Oh, Ben, I hate you.
Antediluvian.
Yes, Diluvian.
I thought you said Andrew Taylor. I'm going, who the fuck's Andrew Taylor?
Well.
But now I know.
It says Andrew Taylor, doesn't it? Yeah.
It may well do, but the company is called Antediluvian Miniatures, so nobody would ever find it via the medium of Andrew Taylor.
Well, he should.
It's like Googling Games Workshop, but doing it by total global domination, which was a name they.
I think you'll have a very high chance of getting Games Workshop just next to Amazon and FacePage.
Well, yeah. But that was a name they listed themselves under for the umbrella company at one point in the stock market.
Well, the year is nearly over. Next coming weekend it's Christmas, so Jerry has gone out of his way and selected a few interesting
I have done, yeah.
Projects.
It is the shortest night of the year.
Indeed it is.
Shortest day, longest night. So it's all uphill from here. So every night we'll be getting slightly lighter, longer. It'll be great. Practically summer, really.
The Bright Evil Day Stars making its return.
Don't worry about that. It'll be gone soon. I hear it's going to go Nova in the next 1 to 10 billion years.
It's all going to end at some point.
It is.
Why even bother? So let me welcome Volcom, my dog, Skip, Tuffy Ears, Panzer Kaput, The Days, and Grimwolf, and everybody who's unnerved to just reply. Wait, let's say hello in chat. Also, welcome
1, 2,
on YouTube.
3, 4. Yeah, that's everybody.
Well,
you've got 11 viewers. Where the fuck they all come from suddenly? Oh Christ! Yeah. Hi, Lena. Hi.
The bots are reporting.
Whoever the other person is, the bots are reporting.
Horatio.
Horatio, that's the other person. Hi, Horatio. Hi, Lena.
Santiago, you mad lad. He's already scaring me about next year's Christmas, or Giftmas as he's calling it.
That's the way to do it.
And judging by what has been going out from him this year and the last year, I may need to reallocate my base of operations.
it's wacky fun. You'll see some of that on Christmas. But
Tuffy is asking, will you be finishing your painting of every model before it goes supernova?
Nope.
Nope.
I'd be surprised if I finish painting the work models before it goes Nova.
Why would we? Where's the fun in that? We need something to paint in the afterlife, don't we?
Darn tootin'. Darn tootin'.
No,
anyway.
I did see. I saw a clip. I don't know which clip you mean, because they did several Boba clips.
Oh Jesus! See this clip shite. That's getting out of fucking hand. I could have reconstructed the entire Spider-Man film from the amount of clips they put out on apparently every YouTube channel. They all had their own exclusive clip. I was like, if I just sat down with OBS and some tape, I could put this film together a week and a half before it comes out, because they've given every cunt in the galaxy a fucking clip of this bastard thing. by the time it comes out, I already know the story. I couldn't give a thundering fuck about Spider-Man anymore now. This is the first Marvel movie I've not seen in cinema on release that's actually been in a cinema. So I'm not including the ones that came out this year when it was COVID and you couldn't go to the cinema. But this is the first one I didn't make the conscious effort because I fucking know it. It's all been on the fucking TV.
Yeah, and also people have
Pricks
been
need to
spoiling
Jesus.
left, right, and center like mad.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You know, they couldn't spoil it any more than the company has spoiled it. See these trailer companies, they need to be dragged out and fucking beaten and shot in the streets. They are pricks. God awful pricks.
Oh, Pete is on his last 15 Barons of War figures. Drink.
Yeah, I don't think they give a shit about Hawkeye. That's why, because Hawkeye is just on TV and he's like the least favorite Marvel character for anybody. So they just went, yeah, we'll not bother spoiling anything because who cares what happens to him. And it's been much better for it because Clint is obviously fucking amazing.
Every time I hear
Kate Bishop's a terrible bitch, but
every time I hear somebody mention the name of Hawkeye, I only think of MASH. That's...
You do you, son. You do you.
I can't
old,
wrap my head around.
Alda.
Yeah, one of the greatest characters in the world.
I always remember Clint pulling his own fingernails off because he's tied to a chair, and then flicking the fingernails of the people who've caught him when they come in the room and opening like veins in their neck and killing them that way. Then he breaks out. Then he finds they've killed his family. Then he goes ape shit. Properly ape shit.
So pulling out your own fingernails isn't ape shit enough. No,
that was just I need to find a weapon. I need to get out of here somehow. This is the only way I can do it. Then they find out. I mean, I assume if he'd find out his family were killed first, spoilers for the Ultimates comics, by the way, he probably wouldn't have let them die so quickly. But
Yeah. I'm guessing we should be watching other people's hobby progress from years past.
Yep. It's coming up to the end of the year. So the first thing that happens is people will start doing resolutions in January, going, this is what I'm going to do, and then they won't follow them through because people are fickle bastards. However, I went back and found a few that are complete. Wow.
John's
OCP.
Or something like that.
Omni Consumer Products. I assume he's the guy who's going to start demolishing Detroit, although I can't prove that.
You've got 20 seconds to comply.
This is a interesting little batch of stuff, I suppose.
Is that a bat or a very furry bat or a teddy bear with wings?
I think you find that's a demon teddy bear or devil teddy bear, hence the red hot poker up the bum, trident, and the horns. But it's a cute little thing, just to kick things off. But you also get a whole host of stuff, so it's not just bits and pieces like that. There's also a lot of Legion in there and Imperial Assault. So some is done for board gamey things, some is done to get core sets done on the table. I quite like the SPAC Marines. I mean, that was not Space Marines, Stormtroopers. Stormtroopers went from, let's say, the first week in January through to the first week in February, and that's the core set plus E-Webs. And I think Snowtroopers done. So it was a sterling job in a short period of time. And I think anybody, if there's one thing people take away from the next 5 projects after this one, is that it is possible to complete what you're aiming to do. However, it's also possible to fall down flat in your face. As you will see, it goes from February to September.
A short summer holiday.
A brief window of time where nothing really happened. Excuse me. But still keeping the count up. So, they had the goal, a miniature for every day in the year. and got to the end of the year, and I mean, did they come close? No. Did they complete enough stuff to play Legion? Fuck yeah. Did they at least push their collection on? Yes. So, not always possible to complete everything totally. Sorry, there you go, 189, so about halfway. But there was an extended break in the middle of the year, and there's actually a droid army comes later on. I really like it. It's a good level of, I suppose, painting to speed, because I know if I was starting to do things like that, probably would be still prevaricating over the best way to do a robe for the Emperor's Guard.
Well, we have seen what pushing yourself to ample amounts of painting leads to. You're getting a break down in the middle of XLBS when 3 is making a very terrible pun about one space cavalry.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure that was pure exhaustion from 2 weeks of 24/7 painting sprees.
Could be exhaustion. Could be a half bottle of Jameson's hammered down me before we get in there. Either or. Could go either way. But yeah, so nice little light one to sort of gradually ease us into what a hobby resolution can look like.
Yeah, and I think this is. I think this would be the way my hobby resolution would work also. Having the first week of 22 off, I would manage to paint 1 or 2 miniatures, and then there would be a long break.
Is what it is.
Yeah, it's
It is what it is. You do what you can, and don't. If you do end up missing out months, don't let it get you down. Fuck it. It's only painting toy soldiers. Could be worse. Somebody could be forcing you to play 40k.
Now you're getting really scary. This is not the Halloween episode.
Hola.
Henry Ofort, hello, welcome. Toros, welcome
That's
to the
Steve
club.
as well. I thought you'd be rewatching Fantastic Battles.
Or maybe he has finished watching Fantastic Battles.
I couldn't watch it all in one sitting. I kept seeing my dice rolls and having to stop. Anyway.
I only watched the first hour. No, what an hour? Turn 1 and a bit.
Shocking.
And then work got in my way.
Doubly shocking.
Yeah, it's
I, for one, am appalled. Appalled.
So, which is whose resolution is next?
Faux hammer. Stop. Hammer time. This is a big one. This is actually, we're on page 1 of 2. This one's still technically active for reasons.
Still getting things done?
Could be. But again, this is another one where it's, I suppose, starts in April, not much of an update until June, and then it sort of continues that way. But it's also fairly scattergun, broad spectrum, as far as what's in here, because you might see a dust miniature today, a Finnish armor card tomorrow, and then a 15mm army later on. You're never entirely certain what's coming next. And I think my other top tip for resolutions would be diversity. It's the spice of life.
Embrace the hobby butterfly. Just go all mental. Do what your heart tells you to paint, and leave the rest for later.
Oh, you're on the big army picture there?
Yes.
You should be able to ambiguate that, I think. Or is it the one below? Scroll into the middle. I want to see the command. Oh no, too small. It is the one below. There's a commander at the front who's got the most majestic eyebrows ever. You can kind of see him in that picture, but you really see him in the next one. Oh yeah, that's just gorgeous. The big tash or the big stogie is great. The graying at the temples is good. The super grey eyebrows is just fantastic.
He reminds me of this one toy from the movie where toys come alive and fight each other. Not Toy Story, the other one.
Toy soldiers.
Toy Soldiers. What was his face again?
Tommy Lee Jones voices him. I can't remember what he's called. Butch McFucknugget or something like that.
Yeah. Great movie, weird characters.
They're amazing. Yeah. But again, that US Marine Corps setup for conflict is lovely. Obviously, you can use it for bolt action as well.
Paint job on the windows is amazing.
Yeah, a paint job across the whole force is lovely, even down to the GI Sharkman. Bonus points if you find him.
GI Sharkman.
Yeah, it's not a euphemism. He is a Marine. He is a shark. He is a man.
The one in focus.
Yeah. That's because he's a shark. He has to keep moving, otherwise he'll drown. So he was moving even when that picture was taken. You've gone all late on us, Henri. But I really like what he's done there. Look, it's late. It spells late.
Thank you very much.
Late speak.
I'm not sure if anything from Streamlabs will actually find its way to me because I haven't figured out how that works. But I guess I'll make it work at some point.
Mm.
I think they have a cap, a minimum you need to reach before they make any payouts. There's a very weird. Small soldiers.
Mm.
Major chip hazard. Yes, thank you, Ralph. That's the one I was thinking about.
Close enough.
Major chip hazard.
I was close enough that I couldn't be arsed looking for it myself, which is generally how life goes.
And it's a story that's getting more and more possible in today's world, which is scary in itself.
That toys will kill us all.
Yeah, that microchips
what point,
and everything.
What point do you think Games Workshop will do it?
Oh, I'm astounded that they didn't already started that with the toys that they're now selling.
Give it time.
Yeah. So next year, Christmas, we will get a 30 centimeter high autonomous space marine walking around the floor.
Sure.
And
why not?
By 2023, the first kids will have gotten killed.
They knew the risks. More grist for the mill, more souls for the throne.
Yeah.
They'll be happy they went out that way.
So whose resolution is the next?
Next, I thought we'd have a bit of a change of pace and have a look at what Dan Lee did.
Mythic Battles Pantheon.
Yep, this one is completed. And this was when Daniel decided he would focus his hobby resolution. Now, I know he did stuff outside of that. That was not the only thing he did, but that was the sort of defining principle for the resolution, was to completely paint everything for the Mythic Battles Pantheon Kickstarter, which I seem to remember being in multiple boxes. Oh. So there was a very definite end, but at the same time you also had a huge amount of models with a very different look between, I suppose, expansions. So
it looks like a hell of a lot of work.
Yes, it wasn't the fastest, but the whole project was broken down and ran from January through to November. We're at the arse end there, I think. So you're seeing the sort of the final stuff in that.
I like the tentacles. The big sea
1, 2, 3,
monster
4,
mouth.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only see 9 tickles.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, we're being cheated.
Shame. Shame.
No gold button for you because one missing tentacle.
But interesting thing that Dan did with this. I mean, if I was trying to do something like this, I probably wouldn't have put as much detail into the project as far as the actual paint jobs and shit like that goes. But he did. Fair fucks to him. Actually staying on target with it. The clear bases, I think, were a later addition.
Yeah, he
Because
said
I think he only starts talking about it in September.
November, swapping to clear bases.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Which means by that stage, that's 9 months at least pissed up the wall. Doing basing and colouring them in, and then eventually going, you know what, actually, no, I'm going to cut them all off. That's probably something you want to think about in advance.
Maybe that was around the time when Warren went all mental on clear bases.
No, well, it might have been. That's why I was thinking September. In September, he starts working out. There's like a spreadsheety type thing. Not spreadsheet, but, you know, columns, tables. A breakdown of what bases he needs for what box. And how many of each.
So these bases aren't supplied with the game?
No, the clear bases.
Oh, you mean the clear bases? I was thinking.
Yeah, because they're one piece miniatures. You know, for step number 1, cut all of the bases off the miniatures that they're cast from, because they're board game pieces. But at the point whenever you're looking at going, I just need to replace 123 25mm rounds, 47 45mm, I'd just be going, you know what? I don't have to do any of that. Have you heard about black paint? It's amazing.
But obviously, the results show it didn't leave his mind, so he had done it.
Weak. Very weak. But he also broke down, apart from breaking down the logistics of rebasing everything, he also broke down...
Oh, here's the interesting table part.
There you go, see? Broke down the painting tasks into months. So it's like, I need to do in September. I need to do in August. And if you're not looking at 300 odd models going, oh my God, I can't do this. You go, right, well, the core box is 27 models or whatever it happens to be. Then that's 5 a week for the first 5 weeks. You know, manageable chunks, and look for progress rather than, and I'm a terrible bastard when it comes to this. I'll go, right, I've got an army to paint, 400 miniatures. Right, let's get all 400 built and sprayed and primed. Okay. Now let's start base coating. Oh, I can't be arsed anymore. Let's put this away. Because I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, but it's soul destroying seeing 400 miniatures in front of you in one go.
Yeah,
if you're not planning on just spraying them all white and walking home.
It's like looking at a giant ass lawn and being forced to mow it with just a hand push mower and say, no, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just do one bit at a time.
Definitely. Fingers and feet are optional extras when it comes to replacing miniature bases. In fact, I think I actually talked about that earlier on today with somebody. Taking the top of your fingers off, removing them.
Why?
And it wasn't even about this project.
Why would you remove your fingers?
Yeah, when you're cutting. It's an easy way to do it.
Yeah, but you surely need those parts in the future for something.
Pick my nose.
For example?
Just checking. Anyway, yeah. It's just a really nice,
I think,
comprehensive guide, I suppose.
Is there any easy way to get rid of the bases on board game miniatures? I guess not.
No.
Other than if you are having one
Belt
of these,
sander,
belt sander,
and then
just
you
pushing
just
them down
press down. Yeah.
and wait
That
for them to
that is the
grind.
easiest way. I know that because I've done it in the past, and Lloyd's done it, and a few other people have done it. That is the fastest, simplest, easiest, and probably
Safest?
best. I wouldn't know about safest, but you can stop when you're just reaching the feet, and then the last bit you can just trim off if you need to with a scalpel afterwards. When you're going with a scalpel, even if you have a very, very thin scalpel or a razor saw, you're taking away some of the foot to remove it from the base, so everybody loses, half a mil of foot or whatever it is, which doesn't sound like much. But if your foot's only 1 millimeter tall, all of a sudden you've got this weird half toes thing going on. So removing the base up towards the miniature is actually better, but it means setting up a belt sander.
I think the most effective way would be using clippers, taking off the largest chunks and then go down just on the feet.
Depends on the model. I've certainly done that with Mantic stuff, because it's quite flexible. Board game pieces are also probably flexible enough to do it, but if you've got anything that's brittle, or if you've got any air bubbles in the casting process, you can actually find pieces shearing off whenever you're clipping, because you're stressing the legs, particularly the ankles, especially when you're cutting between the 2 feet. So yeah,
I can see that happen. No, Ralph, I will not be looking at anything that comes from Hasbro Pulse today. Thank you very much.
especially not Monopoly. I mean, fuck me, has that not been done to death? Remember when she wrote that game
yes.
to show people it was a terrible, terrible game for terrible bastards, and then somebody else went, you know what, I could steal your game and remove all the social commentary and then just sell it to teach people that capitalism is awesome and you should be a terrible bastard if you want to get ahead.
Just destroy families over it. Speaking of destruction, Resolution 2020 from Dan Lee would be next.
Yeah, so last year I only got 69. 69.
Nice.
But again, another completed project from Dan Lee. So that's 2019 and then 2020. And again, kept it relatively contained. This is Tainted Grail, which I've heard about. It's got a grail. Tim. Just saying, he does. Now, this is also very good because it's not a painting and a hobby guide. It's actually a battle report campaign. So his hobby resolution was to play through one of these massive Kickstarter type games that he bought and, play it. So he did a chapter every couple of weeks and broke it all down in narrative form, which I absolutely fucking love. Are you having a giraffe? A full battle report, but for every chapter of a campaign. Oh my god, oh lordy lordy looks lordy.
That's a lot of text.
Your brother was one of the writers on it. Ooh, the dace, you're famous by association. Lena has Tainted Grail, I think, or at least she plays it, or she's painted bottles for it. I don't know, or maybe she's heard of it. There's something Tainted Grail. Anyway, what we discovered was The Green Knight is a shit film.
Well, wherever that connection now is.
Yeah. It's got a grail. But I really like this, and I like it because it's a different type of hobby resolution. I think we all get bogged down sometimes with Oh, it's a new year. Oh, I'm going to paint 5 models for every day of the year and finish 4 armies and blah, 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 blah. And then you go after like 2 months, you go, I'm fucking sick of games. I'm sick of miniatures. Fuck them all. I hate you. I hate you all. I hope you die.
But let's be
Or,
honest, most resolutions go that way.
yeah,
Even not the non-mini ones.
but they're generally something I'm going to force myself to X. I'm going to force myself to lose weight. I'm going to force myself to paint.
Yeah.
I'm going to force myself to learn another language. This hobby resolution was great because it was, I'm going to force myself to play some games. Why doesn't everybody do this for hobby resolutions? I'm just saying.
I gotta say, if the campaign is that intense and wide, it would scare the bejesus out of me even attempting to play it.
You know,
It's like having an a fight and fantasy book the size of the Lexicana Britannicum or whatever it's called.
sure. Encyclopedia
Yeah.
Britannica, I think we got it. But, I mean, he's done with chapter 15 by middle of April. Sorry, end of April. So that's 15 chapters. That's the first quarter of the year. His resolution was to play this campaign, and he's done it. And a lot of these Kickstarter type games are sold on, it's got 1 million hours of play and 300 miniatures, and people get it and go, excellent, I'll never paint the miniatures and I'll never play the game. It's like, why the fuck did you even buy it?
Takes
so
2 days to set up.
You know, the fact that Dan's gone, painted the stuff, going to play the game, going to document the game. People can come and see my game. My game's amazing. Hello, Crispin.
Have you
How's the
seen my
ears?
game? My game is amazing.
Can you
Crispin.
hear anything? Does the Kings of War system include Dungeon Saga and Vanguard? I imagine it would, because it was me saying I'll play just Kings of War. Wow. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
So, when you're saying he's at chapter 15, that's the final chapter then?
As far as I'm aware, yeah. Done, dusted, and the end to the campaign. And then he went off and wrote a review for the game section for anybody who was unaware of the Tainted Grail and its Tainted Grailness, which is different from a Tainted Anus.
Yeah, the review section on OTT, I think, is something that is criminally neglected by most people.
It's because people are terrible bastards. I think we've discussed this in the past.
Oh, and we were right about it, I think.
I imagine so. It's rare we're wrong, to be fair.
It's hard to argue when nobody's allowed to have different opinions.
Yep. But yeah, I mean...
Sudden change of tablecloth.
I love the avocado tablecloth. Don't knock it.
No, I'm not knocking it. All the time, it's this very calm...
He's gone from Pippi Longstocking, red and white gingham to avocados.
Maybe at that point, the lockdown got to him mentally.
Wanted to go off and start doing things. All I'm saying is, come January, when people are making your resolutions, why not throw some battle reports in there? Don't make it all work. Play some games with your I resolve to play a game a month.
Do a resolution that's achievable and that doesn't feel like forcing yourself to do anything.
That doesn't feel like work. I think that's the main problem. That's the main reason people give up on resolutions when they're doing them. It feels like another job. Yeah,
and even if you have a resolution that's, how to put it, if come the
sexy revolution.
Come the 31st, and everybody is sitting around and is having a jolly drink, and I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Fuck you, Will. That's just the moment speaking to yourself. Give yourself a week into the new year before you make resolutions.
Sober up.
Or maybe do a resolution way in advance. Maybe before the food-induced coma on Christmas hits.
It's one way of doing it. Have a moment of respite. It's a little joke for anybody reading the battle report there, because there's a card called Moment of Respite. Anyway.
Or maybe be a reasonable adult. Which I don't know how to, because I never was this old. But then again...
The Dale Wintons. I'm going to go with your first answer, Toros. Well, you know what they say, Crispin? Sex with yourself is always sex with someone you love.
Well, does that count for people who have depression? Or a severe case of self-hatred?
Yep. Nobody can hate themselves after they've shuffled one off. 5 minutes later, sure, you know.
We all should learn to love ourselves a bit more. Even if it's not just at the bodily functions.
Self-love is best love.
Masturbation is healthy. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So, after we have ruined his 69, nice. What's next?
Well, next up is this, I've never heard of him before, young up-and-comer, first-time poster. It's called Daniel E. Is that how that's pronounced? I assume that is. Anyway, so in 2020, they did also do a resolution to get stuck into their backlog.
Oh, there's the nice drapings again.
Yeah. So, you know, the battle report, that was something for me, but now he has to do something for himself.
Yeah, and this Warhammer, YouTube algorithm, please keep listening. This is Warhammer 40k, Games Workshop, Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, thank you very much.
Cats, all cats. Pedophiles, cats.
Yeah.
Gambler. Hopefully that'll fuck it. Anyway.
What's this? A King Death Monster.
This is the shit he's got lying around that he's hoping to get through. So...
Spoilers? He didn't?
Well, it's another completed project, I will say that. But he said a thing that was... It wasn't so much about I will complete X amount, like the Mythic Battle Pantheon one was. It was, I'm only going to buy new models if they're required to continue playing a game. Now, right off the bat, I can see a flaw in the plan there. And that flaw is he's playing 40k. So obviously you're going to need to buy models.
All the models.
Because otherwise you can't play because they obsolete your other stuff that you've already bought. But then it's just a case of see what he can get through. Can he beat the incoming rush of Kickstarters? And you can see from the initial
Holy
there,
shit.
There's a bit of everything, some conflict, some 40k, some really nice character models from, I want to say, Aeon Trespass, and other bits and bobs, even another Mythic Battles Pantheon figure that appeared from somewhere outside of the Mythic Battles Pantheon 2 years previous. So this is a more sort of, I'm going to say, standard for Daniel E.
It's an interesting...
he's got no butt plugs or taco holders in this.
Not yet.
No, well, this is completed. Can't do it. I've already seen it.
Maybe you should use your administrative powers and insert some interesting pictures.
Just delete stuff. Oh, right. Okay. Okay, it's another comprehensive paint guide. Just goes to show what you can do when you, I suppose, break it up.
Yeah, I think what he did with himself showing off his pile of opportunities, that would fall for myself again under what we have talked earlier about having suddenly this large amount and then saying,
oh my god, have you seen how much there is? Jesus.
Yeah, I'm going to never do anything for all of it, and so why even start? Why try making a dent in that thing?
As Homer said, you know, you tried your best and failed. The lesson is never try. But one thing Dan has done in this is, and in the previous years actually, is a not an excessive use of contrast, but a judicious use of contrast to help push through the big squads. So if it's a unit for a board game or a mass combat game where it's just a lot of figures on the floor, contrast. If it's a one-off model of a cyberpunk ferry, not contrast, or less contrast, or contrast with highlighting. So it's also working out the tasks that need to be done and the best way to perform them. If that happens to be spending 2 weeks enjoying yourself painting a model, spend 2 weeks enjoying yourself painting a model. If that is, if I spray them all white and then heave grey sear and non-oil over them and then cause them done, then that's the way to do it. Not every model needs to be highlighted up to the nines. Not every model needs to be display quality for tabletop. So, oh, poor Ubald. His only crime was being Justin. But yeah, and again, you've got the full breakdown of what way he painted them as well. So you can see the sort of the techniques going in and say, well, I've used contrast here, or I've used this paint here and then highlighted it with this, and you get the overall impression of how the stuff was put together. So in some cases, things that look very complicated, like some terrain pieces, are fucking 3 or 4 colors of contrast slapped on. Slap on and walk away.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. If you're painting just to have anything else but a gray gaming board piece, you can get away with a very basic paint job to have a nice looking board game. And if you need a centerpiece of your army, you might as well just put in a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
And speaking of contrast paints, I'm really looking forward to the Army Painter version of them. Speed paints. I've got the smaller set on pre-order. I'm hoping I'll be getting that when they actually release it in February. So I'm hoping it'll speed up my my painting process a bit.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how they go. I mean, I've got 10. I want to say 10 contrasts from the studio to try and speed up painting some studio stuff, and I'm not a fan.
What I've heard so far on the speed paint is that other than the contrast paints, the consistency is consistent.
That's what I've heard, but I'll wait until John's actually got some, and then I'll try his.
Yeah, reserve judgment until you actually have them in your hand. But it's I think because that's one thing that really put me off the contrast paints, when people said, yeah, this one is very liquid and you don't need to dilute it anyway, and this other one is almost a texture paint.
Yeah, this one will require 4 coats to get any coverage. This one is fine out of the pot, and this one needs to be diluted 5-to-1 ratio with thinner, or you're fucked. And it's up to you to work those out, because there's no
good
list.
Luck.
Good luck, Skipper. Chim Chimney Mari Parpins. Hi, Mark.
Welcome, my God, Mark.
I'm not dealing with that or putting up with that. I like the instant colors because they are consistent. It may not be a consistency people like, but they're consistent.
Yeah.
So maybe speed paint will be more user friendly out of the bottle.
As long as the paint range stays consistent, I can live with most kind of paints that come out of the pot. But if they start to vary, it's very annoying.
You can be scrolling while you're talking, so people aren't just seeing Skitari. They can be seeing tons and tons of really nicely painted stuff. All you have to do is put your finger on the middle mouse button and just wheel down. It's like how my friend used to read in Warcraft.
We had been here earlier with these nice little project he already did.
Yeah, well, okay. I will forgive you. Anyway.
So, do we have a resolution for 2021?
We do, and it's from this fella who's called Da Nli. I'm not entirely certain if he might be South African. They've got a lot of sort of glottal stops in their names. But
I'm getting the impression that not a lot of people are very consistent with their resolutions.
I don't know. I just stuck resolution into the search bar and seen what came up, and these were the only 6 that came up listed as resolutions. There may be like New Year's, blah blah blah, whatever, you know. But Dan has obviously been very consistent. 2019, 2020, 2021. He's been going well. Also, the plan was to clear the backlog this year, so he's got 10 days left. If you're not following this one, you can follow it now.
And
we've
see what happens.
Yeah. I think he got golden button for the Tyrants of Tor, and we looked at those a little while ago, and we were laughing at the Conservatives, and Priti Patel, whoever she'd pushed into the sea and drowned recently. But we're only a few weeks away from the end, or less than 2 weeks from the end. So it'll be interesting to see if he completes another, because that would be like 4 completed New Year's resolutions in 3 years. I'm not saying if you want to do a hobby resolution in 2022 that you should, but what I am saying is if you want to complete a hobby resolution in 2022, you should probably change your name to Dan Lee, because it seems to be the key on this one.
I'm guessing we'll have an influx of Dan Lees on the forum and the site now.
Hope so. Hope so. Anyway, it's the same as previous years. We have been in this one and seen some of the bits and pieces we worked on. So there've been a couple of updates since last time we were in, including
the Christmas demon.
Well, you know, you say that, I say friendly squid woman.
He's writing Christmas demon. I'm just reading the
Christmas.
words.
Oh, you're at that one. All right. I was at Squid Woman above. Yes, she is Christmas. She is demon. Mrs. Claus. Or perhaps Ms. With her candy cane. Certainly unexpected.
I never heard of this manufacturer, Bellnacht.
She's got underboob, which is, I believe, the new version of side boob.
Yeah, but much can be shown much more publicly because it's not going to fall out.
Probably have got military colours, Steve, or military colours, Steve. For these ones, I believe they're all 28s. I believe.
I'm just leaving that picture on screen because I just love it.
I'll just open that one separately. Oh no, Bellnacht does not exist.
What?
So I don't know what he was aiming for, but it's not there. It's entirely possible that she is a real succubi.
He says Bellnacht miniatures.
He does, and yes, it doesn't come out whenever I cut and paste it. Because it's not Bell, it's Bella.
Yeah.
So
get your providers right. Oh, it's 3D printed shiz.
Oh well, that's dead to me now then. Dead to me. But yeah, the Christmas demons, quite fun and obviously very seasonal. And then I quite like Rudanthe, obviously not how it's pronounced, and the giant squid, simply because I've compiled quite a comprehensive selection of octopi pictures over the past couple of days for a project I'm about to kick into.
Octopi?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds interesting.
Oh, you're going to go full ham on Silver Bayonet in the Americas then, Crispin? I think it's a really good way of doing it. Like I say, the one of the guys I watch, Andy, on Way to Fire, has been doing his as a sort of tangent of the War of Mexico. So it's a 300 to 400 year period where weaponry doesn't really change, so you can get away with it. I suppose knock off the rifles, everybody gets muskets. No rifling barrels here, you fucks. And away to go. So it's nice to see.
The next project I feel is just to taunt me again that my copy
I
hasn't
mean,
arrived yet.
I don't think so. It doesn't sound like me. Why would I taunt you? Oh yeah, no, I see what you're talking about now. It's bot war. No, this is totally to taunt you. Look at, he's got lovely bot war stuff from Turbo Edition.
I'm still waiting for mine.
Any tricords in the
Wo ist mein Paket?
No, I think. I'm trying to think now. I'm fairly certain all the tricorns had gone away by the time the Napoleonic Wars kicked off. But don't let that stop you. You know.
Tricorns, he says.
Oh, local militia. That's probably a good shout. People who were fighting in the late 1700s and have been retired. They get the old military kit. If Jam Scott was here, he'd probably be able to tell us about some sort of landwehr. It's a good look for you. Fortunately, your hat's too small for your giant head.
Yeah, I need to deflate my head at some point.
But yeah, if you're not aware of what's coming, you'll be pleased to hear that there is a list. Today is the day of hobby resolutions and spreadsheets, apparently. There is a list of cataloging everything Rumble 8 owns, who it belongs to, where they drop, and the material as well. I assume that's so he can heat up the bath and just take all the resin in with him. Not sure. Yeah. But it also has, and this is probably a handy one for Tim to bookmark and follow, he also has links to his other 4 bot war projects. Look at that all. Look at it.
Why?
He goes diving in it like Scrooge McDuck.
It's like, did he get a sponsorship from Traders Galaxy?
No. People just like the game. And go in on it. He's the bot war equivalent of Panzer and Barons War.
Like,
just have all the Barons War. There's Hazy Boy. Hola.
Hola,
King
Hazy.
of the Beige.
So, what I always wanted to ask, where's the big difference between the Bot War starter set and the newer Bot War 2 Turbo Edition?
Clean up of the rules and change from metal figures in the starter to resin in the turbo. So that's it.
Oh,
it does. It's not a straight swap. I will say that it's not 5 Valiants, 5 Deceivers in Bot War and then 5 Valiants, 5 Deceivers in Turbo. It changes the factions that are in there. I think it's still Valiants, but it changes to coils instead of Deceivers.
Yeah, I think so.
So, but you can see there, pre-colored resin, like what I imagined when I was doing the big yellow Atlanticans. Going, I wonder if this will be the way forward, in case people don't want to paint them.
Yeah, and just keep him faction-wise differentiated. Rumble 8, you bloody whatever.
Bastard, turbo cant. What a shit.
Yes.
Send him a turd in the post.
I've
not got my bot wars yet. Here's a turd.
Check in the background if there's any news on my delivery. Maybe they have gotten stock. Totally not looking. No.
Streaming. If you're not going to check your fucking emails while you're sitting in a hot tub, then don't check your emails. You slag.
Still waiting for release date by manufacturer. So, Atlantic.
There you go. See?
Not Wargames Atlantic. Wargames Atlantic. What's keeping you from the Traders Galaxy? Fuck.
You were so close with Wargames Atlantic.
Almost.
I mean, they both contain vowels.
Get your act together. Ship it. People are waiting to pay money.
Shocking. Hey, Jim. Yeah, I thought the tricorns were away.
Back on, Borosky. So, what's next after you've just taken my pulse up to 11 again.
Well, we're going to need a bigger boat.
Going fishing, great primer. So he's taking up the task of imagining what do orcs do when they're not fighting?
Could be. In this case, it's what would happen if orcs had to deal with Jaws. If Jaws happened on an orc world. I don't know. I don't know what way you want to put it.
It's something.
Yep, it very much is. So he has it all planned out. And his sort of idea behind it, where shit's going to go. So you see, for example, the orca. Yeah, get it? Because that was the name of the... And then, but he spelled it with K. Because orcs. No? Fuck you. Anyway. So he has it planned out in great detail how he wants his version of Jaws to come off before he goes into a comprehensive build and finish of it. He's also got stuff on his YouTube channel, so if you're not subscribed to Great Primer, it's worth having a look at because Nick's stuff's really quite nice. But even things like the paint palette, I mean, I do things like that when I'm painting. I have a little notebook that I scribble stuff into, like, you know, if I ever need to come back and paint my Saga Crusaders again, or, you know, finish them off, then I know what colors of blues and buff and stuff I've used for the various pieces. I've never done it beforehand. That seems like madness. I write as I paint, but I would suggest having a paint diary. It's a good way to do it.
I really like the way he's taking the pictures, and this one picture here where you really see the shark coming up trying to eat him, and the orc just screaming at him, "Get off my boat!"
I'm assuming that's Quint. I mean, if anybody's going to be bringing it to the shark in an orky fashion, you know, I imagine that's got to be Quint.
Yeah, just hit it with a big chopper and
yeah,
be done with it.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't wear a life vest, so that's another way you can tell.
Well, mushrooms tend to float, so there's that.
Could be that. But weirdly, there's a stage play on at the moment where Robert Shaw's son is playing Robert Shaw. But it's all around the filming of that part of Jaws where they're out on the orca. So they're you know, it's not a play about Jaws, it's a play about the filming of Jaws. And the first time I seen a picture of them all together, I'm going, holy shit, the guy who got to play Quint looks so much like Shaw. And I went and looked at the article, and it turned out it's his son. We're like, oh, that'll be why then. He's the fucking spit of his dad. The fucking spit.
Well, people tend to look that way at points.
Oh, you know, at some points, baby. Fat Lad used one of those app things, like what the kids do.
Yeah.
Aging himself.
And
he looks a lot like my dad at the point where he was in palliative care because he was dying from cancer. And I'm going, we know how you're going out, fat boy.
Oh, God.
So much fun. It's good times.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've seen pictures of my father when he was around close to 30. And at my time, around close to 30, we could have swapped places and nobody would have known. So I see my father, I know what the future holds for me.
That's probably not the best picture of him, which is, you know, a shame. But I will throw that in there. I mean, I occasionally watch Jaws. I will watch the Indianapolis speech on Jaws every couple of months because that is fucking amazing. But I haven't watched the whole film in a long, long time.
Usually you don't you only need the first 5 minutes until the first girl is eaten.
Good times, good times. Anyway, so
who's next?
well, after Quint, none of them they managed to deal with the shark.
Scripps. Church at Windmill. It's a weird-looking church. Windmill.
Well, no, I was going to say the church is the one on the right, the windmill's the one on the left. Just because he's listed them in the title, Church and Windmill, doesn't mean you should always read them Church and Windmill.
Yes, of course.
Just saying.
That's the natural order of things.
Do the heavy lifting here.
So 15 mil Napoleonics. Not being a resolution, I guess.
I was young then, about the same age as Mr. Cooper.
I need to get this window closed. Still looking at my order.
Yeah, you should. But yeah, obviously we've been here before looking at the Napoleonics Skibs have been working through. A couple of updates, the Vistula Lancers, so Polish Guards, absolutely delightful, and the British casualty markers and guns.
The markers are a delight to look at.
Look at the tiny dead people.
Yes.
Dead and dying.
Oh, almost all dead or wounded, or
the averages out.
Looking very much like they are trying to run away.
They're not trying to run away. They're just helping a friend back to the surgeon, where they can get both a haircut and their leg off at the same time.
Saves time.
It does. I like those little markers like that, Grisman. I've seen a few people do them. I've never got round to it myself. I have similar ones for Kings of War. But I have... do I have any here? I do. They're double ringed, like a double fisting taco holder. So it counts up to 99. Obviously, don't need that high, but for Kings of War, you may need 20s and 30s. But because they're double, I can't use models on top. Well, I can, but I have these instead. Now, that's probably not going to be readable. But the two white boxes in the middle, I'm going to put my finger there and see if that's close. Oh, fucking happy days, more or less. So 2 boxes in the middle are you cut out, and that's where you read the numbers through. And then underneath, it actually has the stat line. So, move, nerve, range, melee, the amount of dice you roll. And then it has a gap at the top for the name and points value. And then put that on and then use a adhesive clear plastic.
Yeah.
And it means I can use a dry white marker to write the unit stat lines on those when I'm playing Kings of War. So I can actually just have, I don't even need an army list. I can just have those behind the unit. And it's like, well, what's my unit's attacks? 20. What do they hit on? 3s. Says it there, right behind them, along with whatever wounds they happen to be carrying. So I quite like that.
It sure looks like a handy thing to have.
It's not, well, could be. The dead and the sprue. I might get some of the little markers anyway, the single markers for other games. So I might do something like that. That sheet came from somebody in New York. There was like a really harsh winter 4 or 5 years ago. Well, I say that actually because let's face it, we've 2 years in lockdown. It could have been 6 or 7. Anyway, while he was trapped inside his apartment in New York, he designed those for the Kings of War community to use. And he had actually ordered the same little markery dial token things that I was using from a place in England. So it's like fucking happy days. Download that. But anyway, I digress. Scribs.
The next project, I think, is to annoy Tufty.
I don't think so. I'll be sure.
I don't know.
You tell me what you think the next project is and how that will annoy Tufty, and
Oh,
I'll
well,
tell you whether or not you're right.
It's Games Workshop, so at times she seems to be a bit up in arms.
You know. Well, don't worry about this.
So Flat Battery is doing stuff.
Yeah, we visited this not that long ago, and by not that long ago, I mean March.
February.
Well, February was the last update. I think we didn't see it February. I think we seen it the following week, where he was going, here's my stuff that I'm painting, and I'm going to paint it like this. Then there's been a slight break between February and now, and right back in the game again.
Yeah, so these are done, I guess?
Those are done, yeah. Do you want to write that as a comment? You just write, these are done, ... I guess, question mark, and then see what his response is. Let us know next time. It was just a block of swearing. And he cut and pasted. Anyway. Yeah, so these are his, I want to say like space sharks or something. Who knows? Who knows what they are? They're some sort of Primaris like thing that he came up with his, what are they? Because that's the Blood Raven decal he's using, but I don't think Knights of Raven. There we go. So I don't know if that's one of his own or something that's been retconned in of late that they talk about as if it'd been there for fucking ever and a day. But it's quite nice. I like the metallic-y look to them. But I also like the fact that as and when Flat Battery finds a spot that they can include color, they use it. So doing the Denizen Smock on his Librarian was just very different. That's something you never fucking see. And really attractive. I loved it. Likewise with his commander, the I suppose turquoise or teal colored tabard. Let's go with teal tabard because it's alliterative and I like that. Again, breaks up the fact that it is essentially just all the lead belcher. I've got all the silver here and I'm not afraid to use it. So even though it's a relatively simple color scheme, executed very nicely, there are these little spot colors, whether it's the red knee pads or the tabards or whatever it happens to be, just to break it up every now and again, which is quite nice.
And even though the posing on these old Marines is a bit weird, especially the ones on the left looking more like they are part of a dance squad or something.
He's just leaning around a corner to see whether or not he wants to get his head shot off by something huge. It's a smart man, that Marine. You won't catch him being all Primaris.
Well, then has he called this one finished now? So
No. This is literally holy shit balls, lads. I forgot about this. I'm back now. Getting stuck back in. Don't worry about it. So he started stripping stuff in March for the Spring Clean Challenge. So it's all sitting there ready to be redone. So scouts and bikers in the future. And I mean, the scouts, I imagine the scouts will get the same smocking pattern that we've seen on the Librarian. Mm-hmm. So that'll be quite cute. I'd like 5 more of those soldiers that you hate.
Yes. So while we're on the topic of Games Workshop,
yeah,
new Oldhammer Elves by Firelock 22.
Yes, technically
not Games Workshop.
Some of them are, some of them aren't. So bolt throwers, Games Workshop. Crew, Oathmark.
Well, you can't mix.
Of course you can. Archmage. I quite like that Archmage. I've got one. That's not his staff. I don't know where he's got that staff from, but he's found a staff and stuck it on there. So
something screams Stargate.
Oh, yeah, well, it's certainly a way of doing it. He normally has a sword, if memory serves, that he's holding in front of him like some sort of shit He-Man. So I prefer the staff because it makes that pose seem less ridiculous. You know, I'm all for that. But the shield wall, Archmage, and Bolt Thrower, I think, are the only new things. We have been here before and seen the archers and spearmen and blah blah
in
blah.
October.
Blah blah blah. But I like the shield watch. They're quite cute with the
Little
hand-drawn elven runes on the shields and stuff like that.
The little hearts on the bottom.
Yep. So you know they're elves. Because they've got hearts. They love you. They're lovely.
I hate it when people draw eyes. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Again, another turd in the box when you find his address out.
And it's not like I'm not trying. I've watched so many YouTube tutorials on how to draw eyes, and it never works.
Yeah. Henry, or Henri. Is it Henri? I assume it's French.
Henri Latte. I think he said we should pronounce this.
Okay. Interesting thing about that. Not all of these are are old. So when you say that they're you prefer these to what's available now, oh, you're Portuguese. Oh, you're really throwing me off there. I'd have to ask my brother's boyfriend how you pronounce it, but he's Brazilian, so what he speaks technically can't be classed as Portuguese. Anyway, some of this stuff is Oathmark Elves by North Star. So they're modern sculpts released within the past year or so. In fact, there are some new elves coming out, I think, next month or in the first couple of months, but they have an old style look to them. So where he's taken old Games Workshop elves and mixed them with the new Oathmark elves, I think it shows that the style being more restrained works. It's like the little black dress. It's a timeless classic look compared to cow elves with those massive fucking horns, or what they call the Indoneth Deepkin, the fucking fish elves on seahorses and eels and things like that.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Yeah, and you look at it once and you go, all right, fair enough. They're magical underwater breathing fish elves who are above the water, so they're magical air breathing fish. You do you. I don't think in 10 years' time people will look at that range and go, oh, they're really nice elves. I think people will look at them in 10 years' time and go, what the fuck were they smoking? I didn't realize meth and crack was so readily available in the Nottingham area. Whereas here you're going, well, that's a 20-year-old elf beside a 20-month-old elf, and they both look like they belong. So yeah. There's a lot to be said about aesthetic and choices that they make. Bigger isn't necessarily always better.
And especially not when it comes to miniatures design.
Yeah. I really like that. I do. I mean, it makes me want to assemble and paint some of my bolt throwers. I've got 6.
Why do you always buy these multiples of units?
Because they were 50 points each in Warhammer. You could get 2 for 100 points. 6 was only 300 points. That was, that was under your 500 points, 25% allowance in Warhammer. And people here, you put 3 of those on each side of the battlefield and you lose friends. It's fucking magical. So good. I was going to reach over there for some of the Dark Elf ones, but I put them away last week because I have 6 of those as well. So you're just going, this is great. How much is your cannon? 105 points. Turn 1, shoot the cannon crew to death with 2 bolt throwers. Go, I was still 5 points cheaper, and now I ream the rest of your army. It's so much fun. Anyway.
What's on the topic next?
Well, I thought we'd have a look at the post-apocalypse.
Toughy Ear's world will come to an end. A post-apocalyptic Christmas?
You can't say Christmas without Third World War in Poland. Well, maybe you can. However, Twiglet 2000 recently got a re-release, and the most majestic box it is. And Taffy has been essentially playing through, pardon me, a little sort of mini campaign / solo game. So we're not far into it. I know Taffy's in the chat, so all questions can be directed directly to her. But if you haven't already found this project and you're interested in Twiglet, it's probably nice to play along. You too can follow along at home and see some of the spectacular stuff that comes in that game.
Is that part of the game, this map, or is that made up? I think that's made up.
No, that's part of the... he said, yeah, I'm not getting that one out either. It's buried. There were somewhere in the region of, I'm going to spitball here, Taffy can probably correct me, I'm going to say probably 400 to 500 maps in that box. There was like there was a massive map, double-sided, that was Sweden on one side and Poland on the other, so you can work out your full campaign depending on what one you're playing in. And then there was a stack of probably 12 double-sided A4 hex maps that you could then throw in with all the counters and other accoutrements, so you can play out, because it's an RPG, but it is also, a war as well. So
a strategy RPG of sorts.
Yeah, it's a different way of tackling things. I really like it. It's fascinating. I'll say one thing: the box is fucking heavy as fuck.
Well, stands to reason if there are so many maps in it.
Oh, it's just outrageous.
The sheer weight of the paper should be enough to break any poor postman's man back.
Not all of it is paper. I will get it actually, because it's only under a small amount of crap. What are you? I'll not worry about you. Oh, are you supporting the box behind you? Because that would be bad. Oh, mother. Right, there's a box currently on an edge, but it's being held on its edge. It's like that, but there's other boxes on top of it. So there's the encounter cards that obviously Tuffy's using there. And then there's all the dice that you'll see the dice. And then there's the counter sheets. So quite nice counter sheets. Somebody should send a copy of those to Osprey and go, look, you can print on the center of a sheet. And then there's the reference manual and player's manual, which are two books about that size. So 110, 120 pages each. And then the rest of it is maps. So
that's not a light read, is it?
map boards. Oh, urban map boards for when shit goes off book. More map boards. What are you? Oh, two maps. There's our Sweden-Poland map, which is substantial. There's some handouts. There's a couple of A3 size double-sided hex maps. If you're going to start running your own post-apocalyptic campaign, you need to know where other militaries are so you can deal with them. I don't know what way up Sweden is. That's probably not far off. Yeah. Actually, I've just realised that looks like the Denizen smock that Primaris Lieutenant had on the last project. Just look at the colours. Anyway, so yeah, that is all stuff from Twiglet. I mean, it's a fucking hell of a box, but it's Free League. We all know they do good shit. They are the ShamWow of RPGs.
Yeah, Ralph is saying that the character creation is easy. That's all nice and dandy, but if the rulebook has 110 pages, that's not an easy read.
Hey, it depends how much of that is rules. That
Fair
the
enough.
Genesis there, the first two books, somewhere in the region of 390 pages total. That's the core rulebook. Of that, the rules are you assemble a dice pool, you roll d6, and you need sixes. The rest of those 380 pages, after you've taken the 10 out for character creation, is background and fluff.
Yeah,
It's not a hard game to run.
Let me rephrase it then. It looks intimidating at first, and so it usually tends
That
to
stuff
scare
behind
off.
me is definitely going to fall. I'm not going to pick it up though. We'll wait for it. It's a lot of resin bases. It will go over at some point. Anyway.
If I didn't miss anything, I think that was the last project for today, was it?
Correct, Amando. Mein Freund.
Oh, see, I can count
Wow,
at least times. Wow. So, this draws almost to a close. Next week, we will have a hangout again. Possibly. Potentially.
Unless I'm in Stockholm, yes. I'll let you know before.
That would be very kind.
I thought so.
Yeah, and given the fact that I need to muster some strength for tomorrow, I will cut this 30-minute version short. And I thank everybody who's been in chat. And oh yes, I need to plug again. Not the Crispin kind of plug. So
Christmas plug is best plug.
Ralph and I will be recording another episode of Imperial Interlude next Monday, if I recall correctly. And at the 29th of December, the Book of Boba starts, and that Sunday after that, we will go full metal again with Imperial Interlude, discussing all things Star Warsy. Potentially even talking about Asmodee being sold off to weird other companies and potential implications of that.
No implications.
In case I don't see any of you anymore in chat or everywhere else, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year for next week's people who don't attend, and stay safe, stay safe.
I won't say any of that because I'll be saying that on Friday and Sunday in the Weekenders.
On the job that pays.
Yeah. You're not getting a second fucking Happy Christmas out of me. Fuck yous. You can wait and get it once. Be happy that you get it at all. Fuck yous.
You will get it, you will take it, and you will like it. Bye.